I love thrillers, particularly love techno thrillers. Techno thrillers, if you're not familiar with them, are books that essentially have technology and sometimes it's science fiction. It doesn't always need to be science fiction, but it's going to be technology woven into a thriller. And there's some great ones out there. And I think what I love about techno thrillers so much is that they will always be kind of on the forefront of what's going on in the world. And these authors that have written these books are many times giving us a warning on things to come. I want to talk briefly about Prey. I've actually got four authors here. I'm going to basically show some of their books here. This is Prey by Michael Crichton. He wrote this in 2002. For those of you not familiar with Prey, it was about essentially nanotechnology. That was the storyline where nanotechnology and actually artificial intelligence with these essentially these little nanobots being able to become almost sentient and to suddenly have the ability to think for themselves and to essentially adapt. And it was a very frightening tale. This book, if you've never read Prey, is one of my favorites of Michael Crichton's. Obviously, I think Jurassic Park is my one of the top on the list, but Prey could very well be the second. I also love Timeline. There's some other great ones, but this is a book to check out. Michael Crichton was just a giant in the techno thriller area, and I always call him actually probably the godfather of the modern techno thriller. Also want to talk about Ready Player One. This is by Ernest Cline. This is definitely a techno thriller, definitely a sci-fi version of a techno thriller, as is Prey. And the thing about Ready Player One was this really talks about the power of the mega corporation, and essentially you've got the storyline. The background is that there are these in this case it's a corporation that really specializes in gaming, and essentially it creates this world for people to go into, and they sort of detach from reality. And it becomes this dystopian wasteland where essentially everyone is playing this game, and it is, it's a scary kind of lens into, where things can go when we suddenly are no longer, looking at the reality around us. So we want to retreat into our phones, into, social media, into, playing games. This showcases that world. It is a great tale of a hopeful, hopeful story in the sense that you have a hero that essentially is able to take on this mega corporation, and it's a great tale, and I love it. I think we can basically think of the mega corporations of today. There's all the tech companies that are controlling data centers, AI, all these things that are going on that are going to have essentially possibly cataclysmic implications to humanity in the sense of what it's doing to the environment. And basically, Ready Player One, this was put out in 2011, and was showing kind of a glimpse into that world, what things could happen if we don't basically wake up. I want to also talk about Dave Edgar's The Circle. This is a book that really is about social media, and it is a really, kind of an incredible thriller. Let me step back. It's not a thriller in the typical sense where it's a kind of a sort of a rip of a read. It is a book that really makes you really think about social media and the implications of letting social media become omnipresent in our lives, and the danger and what we basically are, by relinquishing control to social media and allowing, in this case, it is another mega corporation. Essentially, think of Facebook, Google, all the big, Amazon, all of those companies. Imagine if they're all consolidated into one mega corporation. Well, that's The Circle, and it shows what the power that one mega corporation can have, and what it can do, and how it can start to control society. And this is a very definitely a dystopian tale that will basically, it will feel frightening because you're going to see all of these essentially elements really in our lives now, just not to the extent of this book. This book, though, really does show where things can go if we're not careful. I also want to basically showcase Reality Recoded by Dave Bushy. This is a book, and this is myself. This is a techno thriller that is, it is a book essentially where you have this secret cabal that really controls things from behind the scenes. And what they use to control folks and control society is really understanding the power of emotions in this. When you have, when you're able to basically trigger anger, trigger bloodlust, trigger any of these sort of, hotbed of emotions that we all have in us, you essentially short circuit the brain. At that point, your thinking part of the brain is not working, and you're able to control society and control things that big. It has a lot more in it, in a sense that this secret cabal, they also control, the code for reality. And it is an incredible, fast tale that is also going to make you think about things around us. Obviously, this is sci-fi, but it does get into the idea of when there are folks behind the scenes, basically control us every day. And that book will get into social media. That book will get into what we are spoon-fed every day. And basically, essentially, think about the technology companies that are putting stuff out there that are able to, be omnipresent in our lives and influence our thoughts, influence what we do, influence, essentially, our morals. When you think about when we're being spoon-fed different types of programming out there, and someone getting desensitized to violence, getting desensitized to immorality, you're able essentially to shift a society towards, in this case, it shows how you can be, shifted towards, either fascist government, a complete takeover into sort of these dystopian worlds. It's pretty frightening. All of those books I just showcased here, The Circle, Reality Recoded, Ready Player One, Prey. All of those books, they're going to teach you something. You're going to have a great read. You're going to come away from it really kind of wondering what's happening out there. Great talking to you. Take care.